Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be about why you should stop charging a flat rate for thumbnail creation, or this is going to fall into like many different categories of any line of work you do. If you're independent, designing thumbnails for a client, or if you plan to kind of pivot from that, or if you're in even another field, this is going to apply to basically everything because it's universal. So number one, if you're charging hourly, I wouldn't recommend charging hourly for essentially anything, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there's some things where it's justified, but hourly, no, not hourly. Flat rate, yes and no. Okay, so a flat rate per thumbnail, usually when I started doing this, I started charging, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would do like maybe like $30 a thumbnail to start. And then I would, slowly increase my prices as I, got a lot of work in understanding into my market, and, essentially just got a lot of skin in the game, working with clients, working with, my team, and just really taking the next step in the market every single opportunity I had over the last 5 years. So, starting small with a flat rate and then kind of raising it up, that's usually how most independent thumbnail designers, and I don't really like to say thumbnail designers because, you're not, at the high level in this game, you're not a thumbnail designer, you're more of a thumbnail artist, because for you to actually get results for clients, it's going to require more than just design skills. It's an art. So it's a combination of data, understanding your competitors, understanding your audience, understanding your niche, and then also the communication you have with the client and how you kind of develop that are all crucial aspects of having a successful engagement and getting to the next level continuously. So this video is basically centered around independent thumbnail artists, because I have found with starting an agency around this space and actually scaling it and having success, it's really dependent on how good of a thumbnail artist you are. So my advice is, if you're a thumbnail artist now and you're charging a flat rate, we kind of want to move away from that as we progress and improve. So, and I'm going to make many more videos on this. I have a lot planned for the near future, and I'm going to continually elaborate on these topics and even provide paid content, as it's been in development, across a few different domains of what I do, so that I can, basically package everything that I've learned up until this point, progressing every single day for the last 5 years, and kind of just give you the button to press. It's not going to be easy by any means, but it's going to be very concise and digestible, so that you can take the value, absorb it quickly, and you'll know what you need to do to take action and save a tremendous amount of time and trial and error. So let's start from the beginning. If you're charging a flat rate, like most thumbnail artists / designers, whatever you want to call it right now, are charging a flat rate, and most of them, usually, some of the halfway decent designers, I mean, there's some talented designers, but really don't understand, thumbnail psychology and, kind of optimization strategies, like how the design needs to look for the end user to actually digest it and take action on that video. Those are things that you need to learn as you actually progress through this space and work actually in this domain. So, and a lot of thumbnail designers that are charging a flat rate, usually, you'll see talented, thumbnail designers who, they might be charging $30 a video, $50 a video. And the only way that you increase your prices is by understanding what you're actually doing for the client and having very strategic conversations, submitting strategic proposals, and not just submitting strategic proposals. I mean, these have to be calculated. So it's asking really good questions to your client about, their business and this and that, because at the end of the situation, you are providing a value-based service to the client. So it's not, depending on the type of channel you're working with, the client, type of client, if they're getting views on a continuous basis, it doesn't really matter. It's all relative. If they have some sort of traction in their niche and you're coming in and designing thumbnails for them and you're actually getting them results, that's where you want to move toward. You want to be able to scale results for the channel and not be tied to just a flat rate, and more on that in a second. So usually the ceiling for a lot of thumbnail designers comes down to their ability to communicate with clients and negotiate good terms with clients. And once you have a client at a certain threshold of terms, it becomes increasingly difficult, depending on how easily replaceable you are, to change those terms. So if you wanted to increase your prices with a current client and you've been designing thumbnails for them, it's very hard and it takes a lot of energy, because once they have expectations set and you've been working along these expectations for a little bit, it comes down to how easily replaceable you are when you try to justify that price increase. There are times where you can justify the price increase, depending on all of the variables involved in your specific situation. But usually what you want to do is you want to work with one client and you want to take what you've learned working with that client, even, kind of pressing on certain questions and getting answers and things like that. And then you want to take the knowledge that you have from working with that client onto the next client. And then you raise your prices with that by getting a new client at a higher price threshold. But the key is you really want to understand why you're pricing it the way you are, and how that's going to look long term. Like you want to have a fair value to value exchange. So when it comes to charging a flat rate, we have thumbnail designers who are halfway decent, some are not good at all, that are charging $30 or getting away with $50 per video. And that's pretty baseline for a flat rate. You have other designers who are excellent and they'll charge just a flat rate of $100, per thumbnail. And then you have, when you exceed that threshold, which is where you want to get, you want to look for long-term engagements where you're able to capitalize on value for the client and also get rewarded in a direct proportion to that value. So we have $100 to $200, we have $200 to $300, $400. These are all flat rates, but the reason flat rates don't really work in this space, and I've dabbled in these domains, these really high level domains, and had these conversations, is the reason the flat rate doesn't work is because it's almost like, the way I could describe it, because I use a lot of conceptual ways to describe things because it's much more easier to get my point across. So there's kind of like a tipping point. So if you're doing thumbnails for a client and you're settled at $200, $300 a video, you establish that. Okay. And the way you keep that client is by basically your relationship with that client throughout the progression and the results you're actually getting. And basically you're going to be hovering around how easily replaceable are you, or should I just not, work with you anymore to begin with. So you're hovering around replaceability, which you don't want to be replaceable. And in this space, it's competitive. You have everybody shouting at you, and most of these clients, they don't really understand thumbnails. So it comes down to just your sales ability and how well you're able to communicate. So it's how easily replaceable you are. And a lot of these clients be making mistakes. If they replace you with someone else just because it's a cheaper price or this, that, you have to be able to communicate really well with these clients to not only teach them what you're doing, like you have to inform them on actually what's happening, because most of these clients, they might be blindfolded. They might not understand this domain. So it's your job to teach and negotiate. So replaceability and replaceability, you have a set price, which you have to meet the expectation of what the client expects for that price. And then you have, basically you're just playing on results. So you're just getting results. It doesn't matter if you get them this much results or this much results. The client's going to be really happy. The client's going to be somewhat happy. The client's going to be really happy. The client's not going to be happy at all. And usually if you keep the client really happy, then you're going to be working with that client for quite a while. But that's not the best way to go about things, is because when the client's really, really happy, that's because you're getting them really good results, or there's a time where the variables just align because there's other variables in this process aside from just the thumbnail and the title. Of course, you have actually the video content, how valuable it is, and even more important than that, the video idea itself and how that ties to the actual content, because you got to have that watch retention and engagement up for that video to even have a degree of, long-term success that compounds with the overall video packaging success of the video. So what I'm getting at here is, usually you're increasing your prices with flat rate as you improve and, basically are able to negotiate with these clients, reach out, and you always want to be kind of developing toward those long-term valuable relationships where you're providing X amount of value. And it's really good to mitigate risk with clients too, because a lot of them are so hesitant to, pull the trigger because of the risk and trust factor. So this also, what I'm going to be getting at right now, is actually just kind of obliterates that and helps you a lot. So the thing that we want to do here is, and it's still a developing space, and to my understanding, these parameters are, still, because there's so many variables involved to actually measure the metrics. We're looking at performance-based thumbnail creation. I know it was a minute to say it, but I wanted to preface some really important insights so you understand and are on the same page as me. So performance incentives for growth, because the truth is the video packaging for a creator is monumental to the actual short-term and long-term performance of that video. And if you are someone who can come in and articulate those titles and those thumbnail concepts and overall make that all come together, design the thumbnail, and you can actually start scaling results and see noticeable differences in the data, and these videos are actually having more traction than they were before, and you're consistently doing that, and then you're stretching it across all their past videos, and then you continually take those next steps and you capitalize on that growth. That dynamic is what being a thumbnail artist is all about. That's what you're moving toward, because it's impossible to actually, it's not impossible, but it's not a natural engagement to do that without getting paid for those results. So if you're getting the channel results at scale, if you don't have a performance incentive to get those results and continually push that progression, then what are you doing? If you charge a flat rate across all videos and you're just doing this and doing that, you already got paid the money. So basically your relationship, your continued work with that client is dependent on how happy they are. And with the performance incentives, we want to operate more on results, getting paid for results more than basically taking a chunk out of the client just to sustain what you do. So typically with the results, it's going to minimize the baseline fee. So and with this in mind, this performance incentive framework, like this is crucial. If you really want to progress as a thumbnail artist, you need to be moving toward performance incentivized working relationships. It's better for long term. You get paid more, and it allows you to basically expand your skills to other clients that have a lot of value on the table for you to mutually capture, and it's just a win-win. That's where you want to be. So with that said, when it comes to negotiating these performance threshold ways of having a working relationship with your clients, it's a little bit theory now, because there's so many variables involved in this process, and typically what you want to hinge on is the CTR. So we have different CTR thresholds, we have different niches, different average CTRs for different clients, and then different businesses. What business do they have? If you get them this amount of views, how much value is that actually providing to their business? Are they struggling to get these views? How can you help them? And when you kind of understand these domains and you actually put the work in to understand them, you'll naturally start attracting these clients. It's just how it's just how the mental works. It's you understand what you can provide, and then you find those connections, and you naturally will just attract those opportunities. But I mean, don't sit around and do nothing. You have to be active in your pursuit of improvement and, securing these deals, and an opportunist. But yeah, we're talking CTR thresholds like 6%, 9%, and I mean 6% is pretty baseline, okay, 9% good, and then like 10, 11, 12% plus is pretty up there. But there's also reasons for higher CTR percentages. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have an outstanding thumbnail compared to a video that has a 6% CTR rate, and that's where things kind of get tricky. But it's a good domain to start with. It doesn't have to be perfect, but operating on performance thresholds on the CTR, so 6%, 9%, 12%, and then having a very, you have to be able to negotiate and navigate this communication with potential clients really well. And you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot when it comes to pricing things. You do not want to put a price out there. Do not put a price out there until you understand what you're actually doing for the client. Like if you're providing value for the client, and the client's getting 5,000 views per video, and that's kind of on the high end, and they average maybe 1,000 to 2,000 views per video. But of every single video they post, maybe they have their audience are clients that pay anywhere between 10 to 20K just to work with them, and they found them through their long form content. So you're saying 2,000 views, you have clients paying 10 to 20K to work with you in your business, and maybe say like 2-3 clients are coming in from those 2K views, which would be, I mean, from hindsight, relatively valuable. I mean, not relatively valuable, really valuable. We're talking 10 to 20K times 3. That's going to be 60K in clients just from 2,000 views. And say you come in and you actually know what you're doing, and you're able to get them 10,000, 20,000 views on their videos. And if you just just for the sake of just the numbers, 2,000 views, 60K times 10 would be okay. Now you see, this is up there. That's monumental. So yeah, when you have more value to provide to a client who has a very valuable business, it's going to be relative value exchange, or at least that's what you're going to want to move toward. Because a lot of these clients, depending on how valuable you actually are to work with them, they really want to keep their investment in you multiplicatory, or that's not even a word, but they want to keep it. Most savvy business owners, they want to maximize the value out of you. They want to get a 5x, 10x plus return when working with you, if not more. And it's all negotiation, and when it comes down to actually getting them results. But typically, if you can secure, you do thumbnails for one of their videos, maybe they're paying you a baseline of $100 per video. And then if you can get them, say, 7% CTR, if you can get them 9% CTR, say at 7% CTR after X amount of time, maybe 2 weeks, maybe the first 24 hours, typically it's going to be longer term, because they're going to want to incentivize you to continually change thumbnails when the CTR kind of declines. But maybe like 2 weeks, 30 days, if you can hold X amount of CTR for that amount of time, then you're looking at maybe a bonus of $1,000 on one video. So you get paid $100 to actually do the thumbnail, and you're getting paid $1,000 because you actually got them results. Now, doesn't that sound better than just sticking at $100 per thumbnail and then just keeping the client happy and hoping that you stay with them for a long time? Yeah, because there's more integrity there. You're providing value, a performance-based service. So once you actually can scale that performance and get those results, then it's going to be a much more healthy engagement. Okay, so those are my thoughts here on why you shouldn't charge a flat rate per thumbnail. And it's not bad, but you should be moving toward these as you improve your skills and are able to actually expand the copywriting and overall video packaging. and actually getting these results. And there's no how to do it. Like, how do I do it? Like, there's no, like, I don't look at, like, I mean, obviously I see my competitors and what they're doing, and I take things, from every single angle, but there's no asking a question, how can I do this? How can I get better at thumbnails? The only way you get better is by having these tough conversations and actually doing the work, failing, winning, failing, winning, failing, winning, and just doing it for a long time. So, it's not a one night thing. So no matter your skill level, you can get on the fast track toward this as long as you're putting in the work. And of course, questions are good. I'm definitely not saying questions are bad, but if it's a question of whether or not you're willing to actually put in the work, then maybe a question isn't justified. But learning, that's exceptionally valuable, because if you can figure out how to basically download the things you need, like the information you need at the current state you are, or the current position you're in, if you can download that information essentially, then yeah, I mean, you're going to avoid a tremendous amount of trial and error and wasting your time. It's still going to take work and still going to take time for you to adopt these things and integrate them. But when you have the information downloaded, that's important. So, definitely keep on learning from every single aspect that you can, but do not stray away from the work. The actual work is where you actually find out what you're made of and what you can actually do. So keep on staying focused and staying passionate about the process, about what you're actually doing and why you actually choose to do it. And as far as paid content goes, the paid content is in progress. I am looking to basically, the agency accelerator paid content is going to be a segment of what I offer, and then it's going to be the thumbnail optimization course, which is going to dig really deep into the actual psychological framework and basically the framing. It's going to be a universal step-by-step for any channel and any niche to actually pinpoint the changes that they need to make and the processes that they need to adopt to be able to essentially get the results they want for their channel in as fast amount of time as possible when they take action on what I'm actually bringing insight to in that specific domain. And then on top of that, I'm looking at developing another segment of paid content that's going to be for specifically just kind of technical design, and how I kind of design thumbnails, but it's going to be super straight to the point. It's not going to go over use this tool in Photoshop, use that tool in Photoshop. I'll also combine this with another graphic design software, which is GIMP, free to use, and I'll go hand in hand. Photoshop's only like $19 to use. If you're a creator and you're looking to basically kind of get into the waters of this and see what you can do yourself, or you're a thumbnail designer and you want to basically learn from how I do it and integrate that into your unique processes and take the value I provide and then combine it with the value you already provide. That's essentially what it's going to be. And it's going to be the essentials, exactly how I frame the thumbnail, how I iterate on the thumbnail, and basically how I make decisions on the thumbnail, and that more specifically the step-by-step to bringing the thumbnail to actually a final and usable material for your video or your client's video. So yeah, big things are coming, guys, and I am really looking forward to this journey. I think the main thing that's going to keep me going in this journey is your guys' feedback and just knowing that I'm making a positive impact in this community. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be the main driver of all of this. So your feedback is invaluable to me, and I really appreciate it. It helps me build momentum to keep making these videos. Just knowing that it's having a positive impact and it's inspiring and motivating you guys to keep pushing to the next level and not basically being stagnant to anything. anything in this process, because progression and team effort and actually, having a pack and uh, having inspiration to go to and people to basically, um, stay accountable to, while staying accountable to yourself. That's what it's all about, finding your tribe. And I really look forward to progressing down this journey with you, getting this paid content out, and continually making this free content to help you get to the next level. Simultaneously, when I make this content, it helps me get to the next level. I'm out here speaking to you guys. I'm giving it to you, unfiltered. This is not cut. This is straight from the top value. And I really appreciate you guys. And I look forward to hearing your feedback. And yeah, that has been why you shouldn't charge a flat rate per thumbnail. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. We'll see you. Peace.